G'day YouTube, Turbo Tristan here. Welcome back to the channel. This video we're going to be getting stuck back into the little Rippa project. It's been under wraps for about a week now. I've been working at night, in the dark, in the rain, in the cold, after work, doing lots of work, building the fuel tank, and also pressing in some new bushes, restoring, cleaning all the rust off, and then repainting the suspension arms. So we're going to take a look at those. Stick around, show you where we're up to. So as I just mentioned, I've been working at night in the dark, so I haven't filmed a lot. I'm really sorry about that, but I just got to get work done on this car. We need to get it back on the ground and rolling so we can move it. It still runs and drives. I've just got to put the suspension back under the car, get the fuel tank in there and get that set up. So depending on how I go today, I'll probably start putting the fuel system in and getting that up and running. I just wanted to show you the suspension arms. Often overlooked, but a very important thing to do is I've cleaned all of the rust off all of these arms and fitted brand new Super Pro bushes. We've done the rear trailing arms as well. They were a bit noisy, and I've also painted the brackets for the bumpers. I've used an enamel paint, which is the most hard wearing paint you can get. So all of these parts are underneath the car. If you were to use any other kind of paint under the car or on any of these suspension components, you're probably going to find that stones and sand and rocks and rain and things like that are just going to wear the paint straight off. So we use some hardcore paint. Time to put these back in the car. So that's one less job to do. And then onto the fuel tank. I'm going to be making lots of noise and grinding. I bought lots of hearing protection, eye protection, and heaps of grinding discs and cutting discs and welding supplies. So very, very hard. I've already made a couple of rookie errors because that's my welding bench station over there. It's about 30 centimeters deep by about a meter wide, and the fuel tank is bigger than that. Less than ideal, but we're getting there. We're making progress, and progress is better than no progress. So here's the suspension arms back in and all black, looking nice. You can see under here, all new bushes. Nothing has been tightened down yet or set up because I've still got to put the rest of the suspension back in. That should be going in the rear next week. I've gotten word from Smooth Suspension that the Coney inserts will be ready early next week. So that's sweet. That means the rear end will be put back together and I can put it on the ground. But first, I need to get under here and get this fuel tank sorted. It's going to live up under there. So it's midweek. The fuel tank pieces have arrived. They're just down here, brand new stainless steel, still wrapped in the plastic, but it's been folded up by my younger brother Aiden from AH Fabrications. I'm going to start tacking it all together tonight, see how much I can get done. It's freezing. I'm going to chuck the MAXPEEDINGRODS heater on. Today we're back onto the little Rippa. It's a very windy, very cold day down here in Melbourne. I was supposed to be welding up the fuel tank. There's a sneak peek there. But it's not ready to show people on camera yet, mainly because of my welds. My welds are really sucking at the moment because of the wind, the rain, and me. We're going to do the fuel system. So we've got the new fuel tank, we've got the new fuel lines, fuel filter, fuel pump, fuel pressure regulator. We're going to change all of this stuff and get it all sorted and ready so that the Rippa doesn't have any issues with fueling. So we're going to keep the AEM fuel rail, but I've changed the orientation. It used to feed in and regulate from one side. So now it's going to feed in from one end, pressurize, and then regulate out of here. I'm going to change this fitting as well. We're going to mount up the fuel pressure regulator, run some line to the back of the car, mount the new Ford Territory fuel filter on its bracket, get that situated in the car. I do have some riv nuts and things that I'm going to use. I'll throw some clips in here. I've done the rear suspension bushings. There's a little bit of an issue with the rear suspension, so I'm still trying to work around that. It's just an absolute nightmare trying to get stuff to work. It's going to ride nice and compliant with a coming up to a 40-year-old car. Well, actually, it's over 40 years old. God, time flies. So 40-year-old car that you can't get suspension for anymore. So something's going to have to change with that. We're going to have to figure that out, and honestly, I don't know how we're going to get there, but I need to have it moving and rolling soon. So we're going to start with things that we can do when it's windy and cold. Is we can work on the bench and do some fuel lines. So first up, we're going to mount the Walbro 450 in-tank fuel pump. It's going to be secured onto there by a hose clamp. We're going to run a piece of hose between the two lines here, and some bulkhead fittings that we've got here from EFI Hardware. They're going to go through here so we get the right voltage. Mount the fuel filter, that's going to go under the car, attach again via a hose clamp. And then we've got to do some lines all the way to the back of the car. We've got a RACEWORKS B series fuel rail adapter, so we're going to use that, and it's a -6 line there, so nice beefy line for the fuel pressure reg. So that's going to be used with a SAAS rising rate fuel pressure regulator. It won't be rising rate because it's an NA car, naturally aspirated, but we're going to run this one anyway because, you know, if things change in the future, if we decide to boost this engine, we've got the fuel system is already set up. So yeah, this is a bit of overkill for a naturally aspirated 1.6, but it's just future-proofing the entire build. Might get turned into a track car, might get turboed, we never know. So we're going to just get it all set up for just in case, and worst case scenario, we're going to be ready with the fuel. Well guys, it's the next day. I've decided that I'm going to pack up everything. I'm getting rid of all my steel. I've chucked out my D16 engine, but under the bonnet, let me show you what I've done. I've put the vacuum line on. I've put the new fuel pressure regulator on. I've used the original braided line from there. It was a little bit smaller than what I anticipated, so I had to use that one, and the fittings on the regulator were quite small, but I do have the big high flow, high pressure inlet hose done. That's all done with black braid, tucks down there, and then that runs all the way under the car. And then you can see the fuel filter setup I've got running there. I just used the original location. You know, I didn't want to drill any more holes in this car. It's already got enough holes in it. I've put all the fittings on both ends. I've done the wiring for the fuel pump. So that's all done. I used the plug that came with it. Bulkhead fittings and everything's all done. So as soon as I get a chance to weld when it's not windy, I can finish all of that off. While we're down here, we may as well have a look at what we've done. So with the suspension, we've got the bushes here. The bushes under there have been done. And also the bushes just in here have been done. So should be nice and tidy and tight rear end now. So I'm just really waiting for rear shocks to happen. Then I can get all that put back together and get it on its wheels. Get ready for the move. I'm waiting for my throttle body to be welded up, or the adapter to be welded up by Trick Fab. I'm waiting for it to stop being so windy and cold so I can weld. As you can see, I don't have any walls here, so any bit of wind blows the weld around, the arc, and just blows holes and everything. Oxygen getting into TIG welding really makes a mess. It just makes everything blow up and explode. So slowly I have considered moving the car over with the trolley jack and trying to weld here somewhere, but I don't really have any space, and I don't want to damage the car, so just have to wait. But yeah, as you can probably hear, I'm around the corner. I've got a wall shielding us from the wind, and it's quite windy today and bloody cold. So yeah, between trying to move, trying to get this car finished, trying to weld, trying to get everything sorted, it's just been a nightmare lately. So please bear with me. The content is going to be going huge when I do move. We've teased 2 other project cars which are happening. There's actually a 3rd one, plus my cars, plus this car, plus another one of these, plus maybe even a 3rd first gen. The Accord, I've got to do work to the Accord. I've got some parts for that, but I'm waiting for it to warm up so I can paint. So there's a hint. We've still got the Civic Coupes, the EJ8 and the EM1 to work on when it warms up a bit. And then we have 2 Honda City Turbos, 2 Moto Compos. I still have everything ready to do a turbo kit on a D16. I'm going to try and do a kit that allows you to keep the aircon. It's still a goal of mine. So hopefully I can get that sorted for you guys coming soon in the next few months. In the meantime, while you're waiting for actual good content, which I do promise you is coming, why don't you go back, click on a couple of the videos that you might not have seen. With all of those 4,000 people that have joined us in the last 6 months haven't seen me paint my cars, build engines, do VTEC lockouts, install computers, paint engine bays, install radiators, and all that sort of thing is on the channel. If you go back, there's nearly 200 videos up online now. Most of them are how-tos on Honda Civics. So if you got a Honda Civic, check back on some of my other videos. Teaches you how to fit fuel pumps, how to build an engine, how to do basic wiring, body work, suspension work, brake work, all sorts of hacks and things that I've learned. So check those out. Don't forget, spool up, like, share and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.